Greetings, beautiful people. I want to start this episode with a quote. The truth is incontrovertible. Panic may resent it, ignorance may deride it, malice may distort it. But there it is, Winston Churchill. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the quote of the day, and welcome to Bad Thought Therapy. I'm Sherry Hardy, and I hope and pray you are well. It has been cloudy where I am. It's been raining a lot here. But you know what I do? I create my own sunshine, and I hope you are doing that as well. Don't forget, that is a divine power that you have. I wish I had known this when I was much younger, but now at my age, I can tell you right now that you have the power to create the peace, the joy, the love, especially those intangibles that are so critical for your mental health. You have the power to create those things. Don't forget that. And today's episode is going to be about the entertainment business. I want to talk a little bit about the lessons that I got from Kevin Hart's Roast. It really should have been called Cheryl Underwood Roast. And I want you to understand that this business is very intentional about trying to construct certain narratives to promote certain things that will have a negative impact on our culture, our value system. And the way to resist, I think, is not necessarily holding up signs and boycotting. It's just to make yourself aware of the truth and teach the truth to your children. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a full-time educator. I've been an educator for over 30 years, and I'm so concerned about our young people. Now, the good news is because I teach them, all of them are not lost. And some of them are critical thinkers and they live with their eyes wide open. And we're in good hands. We've got some students who are very, very aware of the things that are happening. But I just want to make you aware, remind you of some things, and just don't let yourself, because it's very subtle how they can come in and we can let them have more control over our lives than we really want them to have. So let's get into this episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, you can like the video if you think it's good, and you can subscribe. It only takes a few seconds. I greatly appreciate that. Let's get started. So if you have been living with your eyes wide open, you cannot dismiss the fact that there seems to be a disproportionate percentage of people in the entertainment business who also are involved in a lot of negative things, such as drug abuse, alcohol abuse. You have all this sexual deviancy that has come out in the last maybe 7 to 10 years. Premature death. So many people from our community who are connected to that industry, they don't live long. They're dying in their 30s and 40s and 50s. And again, this industry promotes negative things. It seems strange that you have all of this suicide. So many of the men from our community ending their lives. You have people going to prison, just so much negativity. And yet, while you have these all these negative statistics, and there is a disproportionate number of people suffering in this community, at the same time you have this dichotomy. They're showing you the glamour and the glitz and all the handbags and the luxury, and that's intentional. And so in my house we call it the network, because the media and the people in the industry, entertainment industry, are connected. And when I say entertainment industry, I mean anybody who sports, that's entertainment, comedians, that's entertainment, anybody connected to movies and music, and even the mid business, which I'm connected to, that's all a part of the entertainment business. And again, why do you have all of this negativity that's connected to the business? At the same time, you have these images of glamour and glitz and riches, and it seems like it's such a wonderful life. And all of that is intentional because they want it to be seeming like it's appealing, like people are happy, they have a lot of money, they're able to have a lot of fun, and that's what they promote. but at the same time, there is also a lot of suffering. That image of glamour and glitz and hedonism is intentional, and it's designed to distract you and ensnare you. And you have to be so careful about not falling into that snare and getting caught up in idolatry. So, and I'm saying all that because a lot of times we're talking about Kevin Hart, and we really shouldn't be, because Kevin Hart does not save lives. Kevin Hart does not protect people. Kevin Hart does not pay people's bills, not lay people's bills. And we care, and because we that's all we see flash in our faces over and over again. And now here I am doing a podcast on it. So I saw the roast. I saw it. I really think it should be called the Cheryl Underwood roast. And it was low down and dirty. It's just there are no other adjectives I could give. That roast was horrible. It was racist, and they were trying to be racist. It was um it was just evil. There are certain things I don't think we should make light of. I don't think we should ever make light of death, whether it is by murder or homicide, whether it's by suicide. It and the jokes were distasteful. I don't even know if someone could joke about it in a way that would not be distasteful and painful. And they weren't even funny. The jokes just the funniest person was Cat Williams. He came on, and he's had the house roaring, and he got a standing ovation, which he deserved. But even some of the people that were at the roast on the dais, they were uncomfortable because the guy, one of the men said that they told him to be racist, and these jokes were written by people who are not from our community, who intentionally want to be degrading, want to promote negative stereotypes. And that's what you have to understand about this industry. They intentionally promote negative stereotypes. Some of the things they do are very subtle, and some are just outright open and overt. But I'm going to give you an example of little subtle things that they do. And another thing is they put a lot of sexual deviation in the entertainment business, especially when it comes to us. But just recently I watched a movie, summer started, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch a few movies. And I like action-packed movies. And when I was looking at the best movies, the number one movie in the country was The Punisher. Now, I started watching it and I was thinking, okay, this might be a little bit too much action and violence for me because I can only do so much. So, but in the movie, there's a part, I did get through it, but I want to talk about the subtle little forms of racism. So in the movie, there is a man who has this like store, and it's like dystopian. So the world is all crazy. It looks like it's New York City, and it's violence everywhere. It's just awful. But there's this guy, he's from the community, and he has like a little cafe. In the movie, the bad guys come and they're tearing up his shop, and he's crying out, "Save my daughter, save my daughter." Now, mind you, he's not saying save his wife. He's saying save his daughter, but not the wife. The wife and the daughter are sort of huddled over in the corner. They're trying to hide from the bad guys. But in the movie, he doesn't say save my wife, who is a black woman. He just says save my daughter, save my daughter. And that may seem like nothing, but those little subtle things actually happen a lot, because one of the number one thing this industry tries to do is to destroy family. Because with family, you have unity, you have power, you have family, you have values. And that's another thing. They want to push warped value systems onto us, so they inundate their business, they just inundate us with images of these negative warped value systems, especially when it comes to sexual deviancy. And over and over and over again, they do this in the movies and the songs. Now here's what they can do it, this is the thing, they can do it, but we don't have to participate in it. And that's what I kept thinking. When I saw this rose, I thought, I understand Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is a person who will do anything for money. Some people, especially when they grow up poor, and I grew up poor myself, and I get it. When you don't have any money, and money is what you need, what you think you need to get out of your bad situation, you can be fixated on money. The problem is that when you love money so much that you will do anything for it, when you will have no values, when you will have no boundaries, when you will just do anything. And that's what this roast was about. Cheryl Underwood, I was really hurt and shocked. And I was so disappointed because I think she's a beautiful black woman. And Kevin Hart, what they did was they basically just sold their soul. And what I mean by that is they allow these derogatory, racist jokes, negative stereotypes, all of these things, they allowed these things because they want the money. And even Kevin Hart, when he got, and even when Cat Williams, when he got on, he said it was about the money. And I know all of them who were sitting there in that room, it was about the money. Here's what we have to do. We have to find a way to resist. And number one, you have to teach your child and your children the truth that this industry, for the most part, not every single person, but the vast majority of the people who control this industry and who are creating these images, and they are in, again, they're in collaboration with the media. They are doing it to, imagery is powerful, and they are doing it to promote certain negative images of us, negative value systems, negative stereotypes to influence us. And the way that we resist is we have to understand that and not give in and not make these people our idols and not make these people a standard because they're not a standard for us. And we have to resist. I recommend, and I was having a conversation with my daughter, and I was talking about this because the roles really bothered me. And I was saying that everybody should, on social media, unfollow Kevin Hart, Cheryl Underwood. They should unfollow them. They should not participate. Just don't watch their movies. Just don't follow them. Now, the media, because the media is very shrewd, again, they are connected to the entertainment business. What they do is they constantly promote and they publish articles about these people. You can't even go to like MSN, like when I open up my computer, MSN pops up, right? So when it pops up, I may have articles about what's happening in Iran and what's happening in the government, but then I also have entertainment news too. And I'm not interested in entertainment news, but it's there and that's intentional and it's a distraction. And you have to resist by not letting yourself be distracted. So the fame, the money, the fortune, the idolatry, the preferential treatment, all those things they are willing to get as long as they can get paid, excuse me, they're willing to do anything evil so they can get paid, get all these different things, and they don't care about the culture. And what we have to do is we have to teach our children the truth that it's bad. What Kevin Hart did was bad. What Cheryl Underwood did was bad. And I can't say necessarily that they're bad people. I can just say that their value system is really twisted because there's a point when you have to say, you know what, I'll pass. I won't do this just so that I could have some money. And they often, I heard people have this conversation, well, there's a price. Everybody has a price. You have a price. I have a price. And I would do this and that. If they told me they would give me $1 million or $1 billion, I would do this and that. Y'all, we got to resist that. And we have to just say, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, but to lose his soul? This business is corrupt. And what they do is, again, they want to promote negative stuff. You look at the movies, it's hard to find a movie where there are just two black people, man and a woman, in love. And it's just so hard. Or something where there is good value systems. And I know a story sometimes has to have conflict in it. That's a major part of the story. But every time you look at a movie, you're gonna see sexual deviation. You're gonna see some kind of negative stereotype. It can be overt, a very subtle racism, and you just see it over and over again. Another thing is you don't see people in this industry who are with their own people, and that's intentional too. Everything is intentional, and it's about corruption. And so Open your eyes and teach your children. One of the things that I do as a language teacher, I will sometimes have my students dissect some of the lyrics of these songs. And I talk about the psychology of if you listen to these negative songs over and over and over again, how they would influence you. And you know what's interesting? The students will say things like, yeah, when I listen to this kind of music, I feel more aggressive. I feel like I'm getting more violent. They are aware of how the industry works overtime to try to influence them. And here's the thing though, no one can influence you unless you let them influence you. No one can corrupt you unless you allow it. And that is how we resist, by not allowing it to happen. What this actress, what is her name? Taraji B. Henson. When the movie, and I'm gonna go ahead and watch the movie, because it's summertime and I try to catch. I don't really watch a lot of movies during the school year, but now this summer has started. I'll be reading and watching a few movies. And so she was complaining about her salary or not getting enough money for The Color Purple. Something was going on. You might remember this about The Color Purple, right? And so then I was saying, okay, well, she's already a millionaire. I don't, she may not be the richest person in Hollywood. And up to that point, if any actors or actresses were complaining about salary, I just don't remember hearing about it in the mainstream media. But she was complaining and complaining. And so I thought about it for a second. I said, why is she complaining when she's already a millionaire? She has these opportunities. What I realized is that some people don't want to just be in the entertainment business. They want to be idolized. They want to be worshiped. They want to have like this diva persona. They want the red carpet rolled out for them. But then when you break it down, who are they? What is their job profession? What does their job profession involve? It involves pretending. Pretending. We're not talking about performing surgery. We're not talking about how to fix something. We're not talking about how to engineer something that people can use. We're talking about a woman complaining, and she is a pretender. That is her job profession. That's what she does. She goes and acts out in these films pretending like she is somebody she's not, and she wants to be paid millions for pretending. This is why our society is jacked up, because we put all the emphasis and all the money, and these people make millions and millions of dollars, just like in the sports industry. They are entertainers, and they're paid millions and millions of dollars to entertain people. And yet, police officers don't even make a fraction, a tenth, or eighth. I don't know how much. They don't even make a tenth of what these people make. Doctors don't, lawyers don't, engineers don't. And that is because we have created that. Now it's changing. It is changing. And in a way, YouTube and the internet and all these different platforms has really changed the game. I understand. Is it what is coming to YouTube? I think it's the Oscars. The ceremony is coming to YouTube next year. And that's because people, there's so much to watch. And so, they can do all the tricks that they used to do in the past, but there's so many other things to watch now. Before, they kind of controlled. You only had three main channels. I remember growing up, I'm 60 years old, only had three main channels. Now, and then you had cable. You had a few you had a few channels on cable. But now you literally have thousands of channels to watch, people to watch. You have a choice where you don't have to watch the filth if you don't want to watch it. And so now they're pushing the envelope, because even when I'm on just regular news, and I make sure I'm very careful about what I watch, because I don't want anything popping up on my screen. I'm an educator. I also, I have values. I don't believe in debauchery, certain things I don't want to see. So I try to avoid all that. But you know what? I noticed that just regular news, regular CNN, regular MSN, stuff popping up on my screen that is and they're very subtle with it. They want somebody to click it. It's like they're putting bait, they're pushing it now because nobody is biting anymore. People are seeing the light. People are tired of being snared. You got two men right now. No, you have more than two. You have a couple of men in prison right now because of sexual deviation. And they're all connected to that industry and they're multimillionaires. And they're the people that pushed out certain images and now they're locked up. And that's what you got to teach your children. And I want to end with this. When that, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a rapper. The issue that I have when I start to look at the lyrics of this music, I start to say, wait a minute. If they try to live like these lyrics, they're either going to be in prison, they're going to be dead, and not only dead from just being shot, but just a premature death because the lifestyle, or really it's not a lifestyle, the death style is not even healthy. It's not constructive. It doesn't promote life. Nothing good is going to come out of it. You're going to have broken families because what you have is an entertainment business, especially the music industry, that pushes lust over love, misogyny, the hatred of women. When you have every single person, every human being came from a woman, without the woman, there is no world. So all of these negative things that are promoted, and then why is it so much addiction? You got so many people, a disproportionate number in this business. They show you the glamour, but then these people are addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, addicted to sex. Then some kind of way they end up broke. Some kind of way they end up broke, they end up dead. Now, I'm going to try to find it again, but Umar Johnson was on a show recently. Is it Art of Dialogue? Look it up. And he was talking about Michael Jackson because there's a new movie out about Michael Jackson. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I'll see it, but there's a new movie out and he was talking about Michael Jackson and he was saying things I didn't know. And Michael Jackson apparently had made a big purchase of some music, and then another record company, I think it was Sony, came along and he went into partnership with Sony. That deal started to go sour and Michael Jackson was trying to get out of that deal and he died before he would have been totally out of the deal, something like that. He made, and I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but let me tell you something. The way Dr. Johnson put it together, it seemed like he had me convinced. I'm just going to say this. So check that out. Go to Art of Dialogue. Find him on there when he's talking about Michael Jackson. And it was really spooky because there are other artists that kind of have suspicious similarities. I'll put it that way. Again, I'm one of those people, I would have had to read everything myself. I would have had to analyze it myself. But what he said was very compelling. There's something going on. Remember, we have the power to resist. And I say, I'm only on one social media platform in terms of my personal pages. But if you're on a personal page and you're following some of these people and they're engaging in this stuff, you should unfollow Kevin Hart, unsubscribe if he has a YouTube channel. Same thing with Sherly Underwood. They went too far. The jokes were raunchy, they were racist, and as I was talking to my daughter, she was saying they were protesting Netflix. I don't know, because overall, Netflix is not all bad. This was one show out of thousands of shows, and they have given many people from our community in this industry a chance. So I don't know if I can protest that way, but I will say, because Kevin Hart is the main person, the main star, or the main figure, and Sherly Underwood was as well. Really, it should have been called the roast of Sherly Underwood. She was roasted. It was painful. It was just painful, cringeworthy. And I'm trying to get through it because I wanted to be a critical thinker and I didn't want people talking about it, but I didn't see it. I didn't want to go by other people's opinions. But that's how you rebel. Whatever you do, I'm going to emphasize this before I leave. Teach your children the truth about this industry. This industry, the entertainment industry, is intentional about promoting destructive things, whether it is sexual deviancy, whether it is alcohol, drug abuse, whether it is promoting, they kind of glorify criminal activity, idolatry. Something is going on. And so many people from our community, they're in this business and they die prematurely. Either they're supposedly taking their own lives, or either somebody is taking them out, or disease, the stress, something is going on. Then many of them, and we find out that people are able to create this facade, this illusion that they have money, and we find out that they're really broke. And that happens a lot in the sports industry, which is connected to the entertainment business. Then you are dispensable. You have a show. Next thing you know, they're saying your show is canceled. You gotta understand there's something negative here. And I say, if you want to watch a movie, watch it. Don't follow them though. Don't follow the people. Don't follow the companies, the people. If they're involved in something negative, just don't follow them. A lot of these people are not married to people within the community. That's intentional. That's not by accident. That is intentional. And be careful about not idolizing the people in this industry, because this is what happens. The media is in cahoot, or is in, and I don't know how to, they're together. We call them the network. They're together. They promote these people. They elevate the glamorous part of their lifestyles, and they make them seem bigger and larger than life when they're really just human beings, and they have very big egos and very low character. And when I saw that Taraji B. Henson was, complaining about something else, and again, when she was complaining about The Color Purple, now, mind you, I don't know anything about the business. I'm an outsider, but I'm thinking, isn't she already a millionaire? But what I realized, these people want you to idolize them. And here's the truth: they don't know you're breathing. They don't care about you. They don't know your son's or your daughter's name. If something happens to you, nobody in this entertainment business is going to come and pay your bills. They're not going to pay your hospital bill because they don't love you. And you got to be careful not to establish these sort of one-sided relationships. Now, I have gone to people's concerts and their shows. I've been there, bought a ticket, but I'm very mindful of where I stand because I know they don't know I'm breathing. They don't know who I am. They don't care. But you got to be careful because some people actually promote the idolatry. And then and this, here's another example. I'm going to do a whole podcast on this. I heard that Russell Crowe was somewhere and he was warning the people who were trying to get his autograph kind of to push back. He was telling them to get back. And what I thought was, that's why I don't ask for anybody's autograph. I don't need anybody's autograph. I may have admiration for that person. Like I have admiration for Beyonce. I think Beyonce is the best entertainer to ever walk the planet. And I have reasons for that, right? But I can't idolize her. She doesn't know I'm breathing. She doesn't care about me. She doesn't know my family. Like, I get it. I admire her for what she does, not only on stage, but I also, as a business owner, I admire her as a business owner because she creates business. She stimulates the economy. I admire her for that. You can have admiration for these people, but make sure you don't idolize them because at the end of the day, they don't care about you. They don't know you exist. And that's not to be negative, but and see, the reason why that's important is because they can't have the career they have without fans. Without people buying their concert tickets and their show tickets, they can't that's how they get their money. But then it's a one-sided relationship because they don't give back. In our personal relationships, in our personal lives, most of us are in relationships where it's give and take. It's take and give. And it's a beautiful thing. And you have to be careful about that idolatry because you idolize these people, and then what happens is it's one-sided. You're giving all your money, your time, your focus on them, and they don't give anything back to you. And so then it's weird because then it's like, okay, I'm doing all this, I'm spending all this money, I'm giving all this attention to this person, but they're not giving me anything back. That is a very dangerous and unhealthy place to be. And so you have to be very careful because actually this industry, the entertainment industry, it promotes idolatry. You can't. I mean, I remember somebody was telling me about there was one entertainer. They kept seeing their image on everything. On Twitter and other platforms or whatever, you can block people or you can say what you want to see. An image can pop up and you can say, I don't want to see this image anymore. And this person was telling me that she kept blocking everything she was on. She kept trying to block those images of that person, and that person kept popping up, and that's intentional. They want you to know about their lives and to focus on them. But again, they can't give you anything back. Try calling one. That's what I would tell my students. Like, I remember, if I would ask them to write, because I taught French for years, and I would ask them to describe different people in French. And sometimes we just get in a conversation, we have our little social, emotional learning moment. And I want them to get to know more about them and focus on them and their development and their goals. Now, they could tell you everything about this athlete or this entertainer, but they didn't know anything about themselves. And that hurt me. And I had to really kind of teach them how to be critical thinkers and be mindful of that. That's your way of resisting, is not letting your guard down, understand what's happening. These people want you to worship them. They want to make you a slave to their world. But then again, they're not giving you anything back. You trying to watch their movies and you spending your rent money on the concert, And I'm telling you, we went to Beyonce's concert, and I wanted the best seats in the house. Of course, I couldn't afford it, but we got some seats. They were decent seats, but there are people that's willing to spend their rent money, their car note. That's when it's out of hand. Again, you can have admiration for people and they're not perfect, just like we're not perfect. They are human beings. They're human beings like we're human beings, but you got to understand, you don't want to invest time in one-sided relationships. You can never get back to them what you're giving, get back from them what you're giving to them. Your time, your money, your attention, your focus, you can't get that back from them because they don't know you exist and they don't care if you're breathing. And again, you got to make sure you're aware of that. And I have to speak to myself because sometimes I remember years and years ago, I used to, and I got to end this podcast because I got to go. I used to watch a show called Entertainment Tonight. I don't know if it's still on. It would come on at 7 o'clock every evening. I would sit down and I would watch this show faithfully. Like it's 7 o'clock, I was watching the show. There was one time they had a show on somebody, and this lady had bought a dress. And if I'm not mistaken, they said that dress cost $25,000. And I don't know what it was. I said, wow, $25,000 at that time would be enough to cancel all my debt. Okay. And I'm thinking she can buy a dress that costs $25,000. And that's when I said, wait a minute, why am I spending all my time watching people who have the things that I can't have? And I'm investing my energy into this when I need to be investing in myself so that I can create, so that I can have something better for myself, so that I could be enjoying my life. I can't enjoy my life looking at all the fun they're having. I've got to focus on myself and creating the joy and the peace and the love in my own life. And it changed. And I stopped watching that show. And I'm telling you, I stopped reading like entertainment news and all because it was all negative. Again, and nobody was really looking like me. And then if she did look like me, she wasn't with somebody that looked like me. It was just like, enough is enough. And that was my form of resistance. And so I remember subscribing to magazine I had subscribed to for years. Some kind of way they changed. They started writing about the wrong things before they used to write about empowering things. Y'all, that's how you resist. Unfollow, unsubscribe, don't buy any tickets. The behavior was egregious. It was just downright evil. And don't forget how what's happening to people who go in that business. How is it that they go through? You got all these people on YouTube that were actors when they were children or when they were in the music business, and now they're just suffering mentally and physically. They are suffering, addicted to drugs. They're having some kind of psychosis. I cannot think of this young man's name who was on a show, and he's just talking out of the side of his neck. Like it's just so bizarre. And he's not the only one. Then you got some people that just disappear. Again, the high divorce rate, the sexual deviancy, the premature death, all of these things, and it just keeps happening to our community. Then they try to divide people. How many times you've seen these groups, these musical groups, they're together and they making great music, they're harmonious, and then all of a sudden the group is splitting up. That was intentional. Somebody came in and they tried to divide and conquer. And then when you do make a little music, this is what I find fascinating. You get a little music, some kind of way you end up losing the money that they gave you. You make the music, you make the money, but then the money ends up out of the person's hands because they got to pay lawyer fees. They go broke, they got because they promote materialism. And if you make 1 million, but you spend 1 million, you're what? You're broke. If you buy all these flashy things, whether they're real or not, and you don't make the money to buy those things, you are broke. But then you have to still keep up the pretenses because a part of that business is creating illusions. You have to create the illusions and the facade and the mirages in order for it to work. Because nobody, if you were just really looking like you really look, without all the makeup and the fake teeth and the fake hair and the fake nails and the fake everything fake, you're fabulous and fake. You did that, nobody would follow you. So it's a business that's predicated upon creating lies. And that's why I started off with that quote. You must understand the truth. Don't be distracted and don't participate. Have admiration. I have admiration for some people. There's some people I admire. But never ever forget where you stand in their lives. Don't give them the power in your life because to you, for them, you're nothing. And that may be hard to accept, but that is the truth. Well, y'all, that's in this episode. I got to go. Peace and blessings. Thank you for listening. Remember, don't let the entertainment business make you a slave. Don't let them pimp you and have you putting out your hard earned money, giving up your time, giving your focus up to people who do not care about you and who will never be there if you need them. They're not going to come and pay your bills if you lose your job. They're not going to come and visit you in the hospital. That's not going to happen. And so you have to be careful that you don't engage. It's very unhealthy to engage in these one-sided relationships. But what's really happening is it's spiritual and it's a form of idolatry. And we have to resist and we have to rebel. Yes, I think it's okay to admire people. I have people that I admire. I think they operate on a level of excellence in the field that they do, whether it's sports, whether it's movies, whether it's music, whatever it is, and I admire them. But what I never ever forget is where I stand in their lives. And I've been there where I've given, time and attention to other people. And when you do that, who you're not taking care of, you're neglecting yourself. And so don't do that. Kevin Hart, Cheryl Underwood, they have more money than most of us do. I don't know if they're able to sleep at night well, but that rose was just downright dirty and evil. And for that, it reveals a lot about their character. Because again, this industry works overtime to promote negative stereotypes. They promote this sexual deviancy. They promote the elevation of criminal life and drugs and all these negative things. And so just make sure that you don't let yourself get snared. Watch these entertainers who are already millionaires complain and whine and cry about not having enough money when they have more than enough. But what I realize, they want to be idolized. They want to be elevated. And what is their job profession? Pretender. Pretender is a synonym for actor. You are trying to pretend like you're something you're not, and you do. and they pay you for it. And sometimes, and I wish Taraji B. Henson, God bless her, would get it. They're paying her more than enough. I did a podcast about her after the Color Purple thing, and I called it "Go from Crying to Creating." And I noticed that she did write a book. She's still complaining. I understand though, but my point is that be careful about those kinds of people when they live a life you could never live, and yet they're still complaining. Don't let yourself be pimped. Again, thank you for listening to the Bad Thought Therapy podcast. I hope this blessed you. It only takes a few seconds to like the video and subscribe if you found something empowering about it. Continue to shine. Have a great day.